I just wanted to do a quick video on parental background influences of upon the narc and upon the empath. I'm using the term empath because we have no other term yet to define that. They're currently doing research on highly sensitive people, which is a term which is scientifically proven, and I plan on doing another video on the empath. But for now, for lack of a better term, the narc and the empath and the parental similarities of influence that led both of these, one a disorder, one a personhood, we'll call for now, the parental influences that led both, that are similar between these two. First of all, of course, we've got the nature versus nurture argument. We don't know how much is genetic as far as who develops NPD and who does not, who develops extra empathy and who does not. But eventually they'll hash that out. For now, the similar parental issues that we're facing, that I'm exploring right now, both had a narc parent, without question, from my research. If there's exceptions, absolutely. But from what I've read, seen, and researched, both had a narcissistic parent. So they learned from this narcissistic parent how to behave. All this behavior is learned. All this personhood that each possessed was learned. So both that narc parent and probably the codependent parent or other parent had a lack of empathy. So both were taught that. One responded differently, one responded the other. They both share inconsistent parenting or unsupervised parenting. In other words, neglect. Both were neglected in one way or another, excessively. I don't mean a latchkey kid. I mean neglect to the point of like I've said before, Child Protective Services would yank us out of the narc and the empath out of their houses, nowadays. But anyway, so yeah, these are both learned behavior. And then the emotional abuse, both were emotionally abused. So this is where we part ways when they get into adulthood. The narc takes that emotional abuse and that neglect, that emotional abuse, the unsupervised parenting, the inconsistent parenting, the lack of empathy from the parent, and he or she goes into emotional unawareness, whereas the empath goes into emotional hyper-awareness. So they're both, as adults, they both seem to part ways on this issue. One, emotional unawareness, the narc couldn't give a shit about anybody else, and emotional hyper-awareness from the empath, which can also cause problems. But we'll examine that a different day. The other adult differences is the empath seems to go into self-abuse, whereas the narc goes into grandiosity and entitlement, self-entitlement. That's another place where they part ways. However, they both do share a form of masks. I know I know it's been studied big time about the mask of the narc. We all know that, who've been abused by a narc, that mask comes off as soon as you get the door closed. Empaths also possess a mask, which of course it's understudied right now, although it is being studied, but that people-pleasing masks, all you codependents out there, all you empaths out there will relate. The people-pleasing mask, depending on the circumstance or the environment, you're able to morph into that, put a mask on, because you had to as a child to survive. So empaths also possess a mask of sorts, or masks, just like the narc. So they share that in common. Some other parental resultant influences is they both have trouble with substance abuse. And then both, of course, are hypersensitive. The narc uses that hypersensitivity to manipulate, and the empath uses that hypersensitivity to survive or read a room, because they're still in PTSD. I argue both are in PTSD because of the childhood, but for now, for sake of this mini examination, we'll just look at it that both are hypersensitive, substance abuse, and both end up with anxiety and depressive problems, without question. Again, there's exceptions. I wanted to give one example from my experience with my narcissist, or the narcissist that was in my life. We were that will ultimately open up this argument and this examination to make it more tactile. Me and my narc were in the car driving around listening to music, and on came one of the songs we both love, Viva la Vida by Coldplay, Live the Life. I had watched him listen to music before, and it was very robotic. I really wasn't getting the vibe from him as far as his connection to the music, but he did love music and knew music. Just like me, I'm extremely passionate, got it reversed. I'm extremely passionate about music. I couldn't survive without music. My soul connects to it. We all love music. So we're in the car listening to Viva La Vida. He didn't know the lyrics, had to call it up. I knew the lyrics by heart. So we were both singing in the car, close quarters, and I was singing harmony. And so we were inches away from each other, so I could really get his vibe. And we were singing, and I felt from him no connection, no soulish interreaction with the music. I mean, he was trying his damnedest, but he was still moving around robotically in the chair as he was singing in the car seat. And I just did not feel that connection from him with that music. And, and I looked hard for it. We played it over twice. We got a hold of it and played it twice and did the same thing twice. And I was able to observe. I'm not blowing myself out of proportion, but I was connecting with the song. I mean, and ecstasy that you can reach in those moments of musical love. And here's the key: musical intimacy. I was having an intimate reaction, an intimate interaction with the music, with the song. And the narc was just unable to attain that emotional intimacy with the song, just as he was in our relationship. So that just kind of draws a line right down the center of what it comes down to. The emotional unawareness the narc went off to, and the emotional hyper-awareness that the empath went off to. Both caused from similar childhood backgrounds of parental neglect, and emotional abuse, and a narcissistic parent. And again, there's exceptions. Anyway, I just wanted to examine this today, and thank you for watching, and please hit that like button, and go ahead and press on into life. There's a lot out there for us to find and discover.